Prince Harry links our exploitation of nature to the global bug and warns of a climate extinction crisis. Stop it, Greta. Stop it. Prince Harry says the global bug may be linked to our exploitation of nature as he warns that we have 10 years to save humanity from an extinction crisis. This is a direct quote from Greta Thunberg. Let's review what just happened. Okay, there was a big hullabaloo about China. Trump was finally turning the screws to China. Obama gave everything to China. It was crazy. And so Trump finally started putting some limits on our trade with China. China was stealing all of our intellectual assets. It was crazy. Okay, then there was climate change. Then we had Greta coming with all the climate change vitriol. Then we had the global bug. Okay, and everybody forgot about climate change. And now we have the riots. Look at how fast everything moves and how much everyone forgets. The Duke of Sussex revealed baby Archie has motivated him to give our children the future they deserve by fighting for the environment. His passionate comments come in the annual report for NGO African Parks, for which he is president. That's good. I'm glad he's still NGO African Parks. We are currently living through an extinction crisis, and now a global bug has shaken us to our core and brought the world to a standstill. Remember all the claims that Al Gore made about how everything was going to go kaput in a couple of years? And I remember this because I got all emotionally involved with Al Gore because I was young enough and dumb enough to run with this. None of it happened. Absolutely none of it happened. And right before Al Gore, all the screaming memes were screaming about a new ice age. If you just go right back before Al Gore, all the talk was there's an ice age coming. And then Al Gore came and everything was global warming and El Nino. And they were looking for El Nino everywhere. None of this has happened. And now Greta Thunberg is saying exactly the same things. And now Prince Harry is mimicking Greta Thunberg. There are some interesting questions that I'd like to explore. Is the human abuse of the earth and her resources, are these bringing forth superbugs? Because the Bible does talk about this. We know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until the present time. That suggests that the earth is conscious. And I'd like to ask the cards, is the earth conscious? It's like we're giving birth and the earth itself is conscious and groaning. Does the public see Harry as a leader in climate change, or is he the ultimate hypocrite? And are these Harry's words? Or is someone else putting these words in Harry's mouth? Hey YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. Time for a spot of royalty. Prince Harry is again talking about climate change, a la Greta Thunberg. He's even quoting Greta Thunberg. 10 years until an irreversible global catastrophe. And before them was Al Gore. And all of those timelines have passed, and none of their predictions came true. So let's do a mini. Does the human abuse of the earth and her resources bring forth these superbugs? Because, we've seen a lot of things come out. We've seen AIDS, and before that was herpes, and all kinds of, there's Ebola. If all these things came upon us at once, we would all just be wiped out. Humanity would be wiped out from the earth, wiped off the earth. But they don't. They come out one at a time. Bird flu. Then we've got this latest bug. They come out one at a time. So I actually agree that the earth is kind of bringing these things out as the time comes. Otherwise, we would be wiped off. Therefore, there by God's grace go we. So let's look at, is the human, because there's a difference between use of the earth's resources and abuse of the earth's resources. We must not abuse the earth's resources, but we must use the Earth's resources. And there is a difference. We must manage carefully the Earth's resources and use them properly. And make sure that they're not exhausted or exterminated. You know, that's very, very important. So let's see what the cards say. Is this abuse of the Earth's resources bringing forth superbugs? Because I would argue that the West is not abusing. Almost very, very much so. The West, the Western countries, are not abusing the Earth. And I would argue that China is clearly abusing the Earth. They are just not responsible, and they are polluting our biosphere for everyone. You know, overfishing, every possible terrible thing that you can do to the Earth, China is currently doing. And they're sending us crap goods, you know, poison things, and yuck. So, and for some reason, you know, people are always saying wonderful, nice things about China. But, you know, they really need to be reined in, and they really need to have some restrictions put on them. And finally, Trump is putting some restrictions on them. Thank God. He's finally holding them to some standards. The human rights abuses, pollution just beyond your imagination. I mean, I was in Thailand and I saw the pollution coming down into Thailand from China. And I said, what's that? What's that terrible big dark cloud? That's China. They said, oh, that's China. And China was hundreds of miles to the north. And I'm not even sure what big city was up there. But it was bad, man. Like, shocking. All right, so is the human abuse of the Earth and her resources bringing forth these superbugs? Hand in hand, there's a whole lot of players involved. Mercury can be an angel's card, and diamond ring. There is a connection here. Diamond ring, there's a connection. 11, 17, 5 hearts reacting. The many people, many players, many inputs, angels reacting. The spiritual forces are reacting to the many inputs. So yes, there is a connection. Full stop. This can be an extinction card. This could be, you know, completely stopping something, using a resource until it just can't renew, because the Earth renews itself. Star Bethlehem, this direction, and this is like eternity, you know, very long periods of time, and very spiritual. So we're getting some very spiritual cards. So on the spiritual plane, the physicality of the Earth and our existence on it is very connected. Okay, foundation, sun, ruler, 13, 14, 18, 5 diamonds, going forward. The foundations are exposed and we are in charge. We are in charge of the foundation and the success thereof. So mankind, man and woman, are put in charge of the earth. And the Bible specifically says this. And it's our job to manage the earth. It's our job to manage the resources of the earth and not abuse those resources. You know, I'm a big conservationist, but I'm not a nutcase, you know, saying that we can't use the earth and, you know, you can't eat meat. And, you know, I was mostly vegetarian for many years, and I just got sick and fat. And my body started breaking down. And then I went back to eating meat, and I'm healthy as a horse now. So I kind of go the other way now. I think my biology wants some meat. So I don't think they're so wise with all their vegetarian leanings. Okay, so there is definitely a spiritual connection to extinction and big problems, and it's our job to manage the earth and the biosphere. So he's right. I mean, in a very general sense, he's absolutely right. Let's look at, is the earth conscious? Does the earth actually have consciousness? Okay, because the Bible, in that verse that I read you, I think that was 1 Corinthians, the Bible, it suggests that it's conscious and that the earth is reacting. And here we have the earth, there is a connection and the earth is reacting. So is the earth actually conscious? Because there's whole religions based on that. Okay, that everything is conscious. The rocks, and that's where they get all the reincarnation stuff. The rocks and the trees and the earth and everything is ultimately conscious. So let's see what the cards say. Is the earth itself conscious? And that's where you get the "you are God" stuff. So if everything is conscious, then everything is part of God, and we are part of God, and therefore the "you are God" business. Okay, it's kind of a stretch from here to there, but is everything conscious? Is the earth conscious? Finger of God imposed permanently on the earth, given to the earth. Given to the earth. 14 and 27 cross. So 777. Sevens return eternally. They never exhaust. 777. Okay, if the number of the devil is 666, the number of God is 777. Okay, eternal return to the earth. Given permanently to the earth. A permanent marriage to the earth. Okay, so is the earth conscious? Yes. It's given permanently. There's a permanent connection and eternal connection to the earth. Very strongly permanent. Yeah. Crosses. The most solid cards are 7 clubs and 10 diamonds. We have the 7 clubs twice. 1427. Yeah, 7 clubs. So yes, in a very deeply rooted, permanent sense, everything is linked, and that's ordained by God. This is a gifting of God. So underneath we have, what do we have? Is the earth conscious? Ongoing basis, deeply rooted. The fox is very clever and moves the pieces around. Interesting. Active and lovers, very close relationship going forward. We have queens. It's all queen energy here because the earth is feminine energy. The sun is male energy. God is very male energy. Okay, different things, and that split exists here in our on the earth here for us, because angels are not male or female. That split doesn't exist with the angels. There's no female or male angels. They are both. Okay, and I think they identify, mostly they identify as male, sometimes they identify as female, but it's like a choice. They're not made either male or female. So let's see, underneath the angels. Okay, and when we die, when we go into the spiritual realm, there is no marriage in heaven. There's no more male or female. That is dissolved. That's wiped away. So, what do we have underneath? A very close ongoing connection, very deep-rooted, and very clever. We have cleverness and actions. So the earth reacts, and it seems the earth has goals and a will. Okay, and a plan. And it's very closely linked to us. So I think the earth reacts to us. Okay, here we have 11 and 6, 17. We have 5 hearts. We have reacting, linked spiritually and reacting. So the earth does have a consciousness. It's very closely linked to us. So we have Harry and Meghan flying all over Tarnation in their private jets. And like they did the 5 flights, they went to Cannes, and then they went to France, and they went all over the place. And then they went to Elton John's house. In like a week, they took like 5 different private flights, and they're screaming about climate change. So does the public listen to Harry and think, you know, you're such a hypocrite, you know, or do they look at him and think, you're the right leader, you're the next Greta, and we give you more credence than Greta Thunberg, and as much as Al Gore or Leonardo DiCaprio constantly flies in on his private jet to give climate change speeches about how you need to cut back. But he's not going to cut back because he's special. So does the public view Harry as a leader or a hypocrite in climate change? Leader or a hypocrite? Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Is Harry a leader or a hypocrite? Scourge conflicts. There's a conflict between what he says and what he does. Scapegoat, bad reputation, 11 and 8, 19, 5 clubs. He's speaking with a forked tongue. Cornucopia is everything material. He's kind of, he has a bad reputation because of his opulent lifestyle. The conflict in his words and actions and his opulent lifestyle. So no, they don't, they view him as a hypocrite. So they have played their cards. I think it's not as much about what they're doing as about public perception. They have played the public perception poorly. And look at how popular Harry was before Meghan. Harry was playing naked billiards, he dressed as a Nazi, and yet everyone loved him. That's public perception. He's not doing much worse things now, but public perception has turned against him because of the influence of Meghan and all of the bad chess moves they've made. They make bad chess move after bad chess move after bad chess move. And, you know, just looking at Harry in LA, what's he going to do in California? And that just screams selfishness for Meghan to me. Meghan is just so selfish, she just doesn't care about Harry at all. She's scheming against him. She's working against him. She's supposed to support him and be his wife. But that's clearly not what's happening. And even the most uninterested observer can see what's going on. You know, people are not liking Meghan for the way she's treating Harry, for the way she's treating Kate and William, for the way she's treating the royal family. And it's rubbing off on Harry. So, no, they don't take Harry seriously as a climate change person. What's underneath? Messages, mustard seed, earthquake, disaster, incubus, succubus, bad relationship, and lying coffin. Okay, so 3 really bad cards, 4 spades, 6 spades, 10 spades in the middle, hamster wheel and mustard seed. Over the, long-term travel, hamster wheel is the across the water travel card, long distance. And it's specifically because of these 5 flights that they took. And I don't even think it was them. I thought those were body doubles because I looked at the photos. I thought those were body doubles flying. And I think they thought that would give them good press. Look how awesome they are. They go flying all over the place. Well, that was a PR disaster. That was a PR disaster. And that really changed people's minds. So those 5 flights, screaming about climate change and those 5 flights really changed minds. Remember, Harry did the barefoot Google thing about climate change, and there were all those opulent things. That was supposed to be positive for climate change, positive PR for climate change, but then they went and took the 5 flights. So no, they just don't. That really soured people, those 5 flights and their opulent lifestyle really soured people. Are these Harry's words? Is this Harry who wants to really be a climate change guy? Or is this someone else? Are these Harry's words, or is it someone else? Broken chalice. Is this Harry's, I was just reading it to you, what Harry said. Is this Harry's words, or is it someone else? It's not Harry, broken chalice. It's many people working together, 9 and 11, 3 clubs, putting words in his mouth. It's not him, it's someone deeply rooted in his foundation, in his life, and they're working with him to tell him what to say. Okay, so it's not Harry. Harry's not saying these things. Underneath we have, the key is people close to him are secretly telling him what to do. 16, 25 spades, and it's causing problems for him. So people behind the scenes are pulling strings. This could be Meghan. I don't see Meghan. There should be a lot of people back there advising him. He had a really good advisor for years and years and years, and right after Meghan came on, the advisor that got him through the Nazi Halloween costume and the naked billiards, he left. So that guy who, steered Harry's ship for all those years, once Meghan came along and started screaming at him and throwing tea at him and demeaning him, he couldn't take it anymore. And now we have, I don't know who is advising Harry, but they're doing a terrible job. They need to be fired. So I don't know if that's Sunshine Sachs. I'm not sure. I can't remember if Sunshine Sachs even quit now. Okay, but it's people behind Harry advising him. It's not specifically Harry. All right, let's review what we have. Is the human abuse of the earth bringing forth these superbugs? Yes, there's definitely a spiritual connection. And the earth is reacting with extinction and trials. Okay, and that's also Matthew 24. There will be earthquakes and famines and wars and rumors of wars in various places. And these are the beginning of the birth pangs. The earth reacts to us. And here, whether you like it or not, I don't know what your belief system is, but in Christianity, we are the rulers of the earth. We are given, Adam and Eve were given the garden to tend the earth, to tend the garden and watch over it and take care of it. And that's what this says. It's our job to watch over and take care of the garden. And if we're not, the garden, the earth reacts, because we're very spiritually, the 7 hearts and 9 diamonds are very spiritual and angels cards. The earth is very spiritually connected to all the people. Okay, so there is a connection between man's mistreatment of the earth and sins to what is happening on the earth. These global bugs, earthquakes, famines. The earth is reacting to us. That connection does exist very strongly on the spiritual plane. That's a connection. Does the public see Harry? Okay, is the earth conscious? Is the earth conscious? Yes, the earth is conscious. And underneath so the earth is conscious. It's a gift of God. And there's a close connection and very deeply rooted. But the earth, this card is interesting. The earth seems to have, its own will. That's interesting. This suggests its own will and plans. The earth itself has its own will and its own plans. Everything kind of, not only does it have consciousness, it has will. I raised like a robin. A robin fell out of its nest, and I raised it as a wild robin, and it would live outside. And it very clearly had its own mind. His name was Alfred. He had his own mind. He had his own will. He was very intelligent. He was very, very gifted by God. But the earth itself has its own will. That suggests that the Earth itself, so the Earth is conscious and it even has its own will. Does the public see Harry as a leader in climate change or a hypocrite? No, he's been discredited because of the opulent lifestyle, and I think it's specifically all the ridiculous travel, the opulent lifestyle, and living in these mansions, and just the crazy travel that they do, living like billionaires. Are these Harry's words or someone else is coaching him? Definitely not Harry's words, and someone is secretly behind the scenes, someone close to him, and it can be Meghan, but it doesn't say it's Meghan, someone close to him. And what I would see going on is Meghan is always talking to everybody else. She's talking to all the advisors, and she gets the advisors, it's a team play to move Harry in this or that direction. So it's not, you can't prove that it's Meghan. And that's what I see going on. There's a whole bunch of people involved, deeply rooted in his situation. So these are not necessarily Harry's ideas or Harry's words. Like there was the Greta Thunberg, the trick where the Russian pranksters said Greta was calling him. He said some really dumb things. Like he just doesn't understand how things work. I think those were Harry's words. Really didn't think through things. I was really disappointed in a lot of the things that he said because he didn't seem to have an understanding of what he was talking about. And he knows these people. He knows how things work. Anyway, so that's how I see it. I'm Joseph Magi, author of Playing Card Divination, Fortune Telling, The Magi Method. Find the book worldwide on Amazon and Kindle and paperback versions. Find the full color card deck. Should be here. Should be restocked any day on Etsy. Many thanks to those who support me by buying me a cup of tea. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe,